Good evening, Bahamas. Coming up tonight.
A U.S. citizen tested for COVID-19. We've got the details. Meanwhile, the Prime Minister urging Bahamians not to panic. Harsher penalties on the way for those charged with vehicular homicide. Plus, church leaders come out in support of medicinal marijuana.
Our news is brought to you by Alive.
Welcome to Our News and thanks for joining us. I'm Kyle Joachim. Topping news tonight, as the coronavirus continues to spread to neighboring countries, Health Minister Dr. Dwayne Sands confirmed today that health officials tested an American citizen for COVID-19. Sands says the test came back negative, but the visitor showed symptoms.
Based on the symptoms that he presented with, he would have gone through the algorithm to look for the other causes of respiratory infection, including respiratory syncytial virus, influenza A, influenza B. All of those tests were negative. Out of an abundance of caution, the technical team, including our infectious disease experts, our chief medical officer, our medical chief of staff, decided it was appropriate to test this person, and it turned out to be negative.
The health minister said while there is obvious great fear and concern over this global pandemic, he advised Bahamians against spreading rumors on social media and reminded staff at clinics to respect the privacy of patients. This after rumors of a suspected case at a local clinic were circulated on social media. He insisted if and when a case of COVID-19 is diagnosed and confirmed in the Bahamas, the public will know. He also stressed that the majority of people with coughs and fever do not have the virus.
We've come up with our telephone numbers for people to call. 376-9350, 376-9387, 376-9357, or 376-9025. So if you are ill, if you have a cough, if you have a fever, and you want to know what to do, call one of those numbers 24 hours a day from anywhere in the Bahamas, toll free.
Sands stressed there are still no confirmed cases of the coronavirus in the Bahamas. This as Jamaica confirmed a case of the virus. Sands says government has no intention to ban travel to the country and insisted that in most instances, travel restrictions do not have the desired result.
We look at the Ebola outbreak in the Democratic Republic of Congo. Once you shut down movement, then people will stow away, they will smuggle, they will go through the bush, go through rivers, etc., in order to reach a particular destination. We need only look at persons that travel from a country to the south of us and how they attempt to get to a land of opportunity illegally.
Well, Prime Minister Dr. Hubert Minnis urged Bahamians not to panic and told reporters today that a plan of action has been put in place by a national committee. Giorgio Bain reports.
Prime Minister Dr. Hubert Minnis warning residents not to panic as the World Health Organization labels the COVID-19 virus as a pandemic. According to Minnis, he's satisfied with the plans that are being put in place if the virus was to reach our shores.
I was hoping that WHO would have done that some time ago. Of course, I have a cabinet meeting at 3 o'clock today, at which time I'd inform my cabinet colleagues what had transpired with respect to WHO. I'd talk to them about the meaning, etc., moving forward. But I again reassure the Bahamian populace that there are no case of coronavirus recorded here, and they must continue with their normal life. However, still take all the necessary precautions.
According to Minnis, the meeting with Cabinet will be to discuss the plan of action that has been put forth by the National Committee. And so far, he is pleased with the plans that the committee has put forth.
Yes, I am very satisfied. As a matter of fact, I've had a meeting just this morning. You would have heard me spoken earlier that we were putting together a national committee. I met with that national committee this morning, and they would have put their proposals, ideas, etc. We discussed the coronavirus extensively, and I would report to my cabinet colleagues at 3 o'clock today about what had transpired with the discussion with the National Committee and some suggestions that they put forth.
Minnis broke down the responsibilities of the National Committee.
Their goal and objective, again, is like like ours to maintain the virus-free environment, to reassure both the populace and those visiting our shores that they are safe. They must still take the necessary precaution in terms of hand washing and whatever else, and be assured that the government is doing all it can and using all of our resources necessary to ensure that we remain at that status.
The Center of Disease Control has now declared the coronavirus a pandemic. It has infected more than 115,000 people and killed 4,200 worldwide. Neighboring country Jamaica confirmed its first case of the virus, which has also infected more people in Florida, where Bahamians frequent. Bahamians have been taking the necessary precautions to purchase hand soap and sanitizer. Minnis said that his government will also be monitoring stores for possible price gouging.
We're monitoring that, and if we detect any, we will deal with that appropriately by the law, but we will not tolerate it. Absolutely not.
Reporting for our News, I'm Georgie Obey.
The Minnis administration is looking to lengthen jail time and toughen fines for traffic offenses with the Road Traffic Amendment Bill 2019. Debate began on the bill in the House of Assembly this morning. Jasmine Brown has more.
Those parliamentarians spent much of the day debating those amendments and making a case for why the government has decided to stiffen penalties. The Road Traffic Amendment Bill 2019, which seeks to increase penalties for people convicted of killing in the course of dangerous driving or reckless driving, could result in prison sentences of up to 15 years for offenders. The bill changes the name of the offense to vehicular manslaughter and allots new maximum prison times for various scenarios. National Security Minister Marvin Dame says the changes to the law is long overdue.
The purpose of today's amendments are to make it clear to all operators of motorized transport that this government takes serious the killing of an individual due to reckless or dangerous driving as it does other killings.
A person convicted of vehicular manslaughter by dangerous driving would be liable to a prison sentence of up to 10 years. Currently, the penalty is a fine of $5,000 to $10,000, 4 years in prison, or both. A person convicted of vehicular manslaughter by careless driving while under the influence of drugs or alcohol could face a prison sentence of up to 10 years. Meanwhile, a person convicted of vehicular manslaughter by careless driving while driving without a valid license or driving an uninsured vehicle or allowing a passenger to ride in the vehicle without wearing a seatbelt could face up to 5 years in prison.
We are also in need of stronger deterrence against irresponsible driving. As such, Mr. Speaker, we sought to review the existing framework of criminal offenses and penalties against irresponsible driving.
Exumas and Ragged Island MP Chester Cooper said while the opposition supports the bill, there needs to be a more comprehensive approach.
We look forward to a greater sense of enforcement, which generally will cause there to be a greater sense of abiding to all of the laws, by all of the laws in our country.
Reporting for our News, I'm Jasmine Brown.
The Prime Minister and members of his cabinet toured the newly developed New Providence Ecology Park this afternoon. Minnis told reporters that he is proud of its transformation from the city dump.
What I see today is a miraculous transformation and the plans moving forward. And most importantly, Bahamians. Lots of Bahamians are employed. And I was impressed that there's a Bahamian who has a PhD in this type of facility. And he was recruited, he's working here, and you would have spoken to him earlier. So it shows that Bahamians have the capacity if given the opportunity. And I'm pleased that they were given the opportunity.
Ecology Park Chairman Felix Stubbs revealed that nearly $10 million has been invested in the park's transformation thus far. Sunday will make a year since Strata Sustainability took over the management of the New Providence landfill. Project manager Timothy Hodge outlined their biggest challenge.
When we met the site, there was about 95 acres of open garbage all over the place, just sitting out in the sun. So getting that consolidated, compacted, and covered was really a big push we did. We imported over 40,000 yards of material from off-site, and we reused about 20 to 30,000 yards here on-site for the same project. So getting everything capped, contained, and controlled was really the big push of phase one, and that's kind of where we find ourselves now.
Well, the Bahamas Christian Council has released a position paper on the decriminalization of marijuana. Committee Chair Pastor Dave Burrows says church leaders support the legalization of marijuana for medicinal purposes, but not for religious use. Bethany McDermott reports.
One of the challenges of something like this is that many people are not really interested in medicine, they're interested in a prescription to get high.
In a position paper released this week, the Bahamas Christian Council said church leaders support the legalization of medicinal marijuana and believe the penalties for small possessions are too harsh. The group said it does not favor incarceration of criminal records for small, simple possessions, but it does not condone or encourage marijuana use as it is a mind-altering and potentially debilitating drug. The report continues. The Christian Council has no objections to medicinal use of the substance as long as it is properly regulated and scientifically proven to be the best remedy for the medical condition. Pastor Dave Burrows spearheaded the committee's preparation of the report.
So if it is the only medicine or the best medicine for the situation, and preferably if it's taken in a pill form, then it's understandable.
However, church leaders insisted they cannot agree to sanctioning marijuana for religious purposes due to the psychoactive impact. However, the report notes that Rastafarians would be sufficiently covered under the small use category of 1 ounce and would not face criminal prosecution.
It is a mind-altering drug. I cannot speak to the religious aspect of it from the Rastafarian perspective, but looking at it, we cannot endorse something that has psychotropic nature and that has the capacity to induce psychosis and a number of other things.
Before releasing the long-awaited report, the Christian Council said it conducted research which revealed a significant usage increase among children and youth even though the legal age for use is 21, a significant increase in mental health issues, and in emergency room visits, particularly among children. The Christian community has come under fire for its position on the matter. Burrows had this response to critics.
If we hear from everybody else and we don't hear from the Christian community, which has a proven track record of people's lives being turned around, people being rehabilitated from criminal backgrounds, drug abuse backgrounds, if we don't hear from the Christian community, then we are actually eliminating one of the major solution points.
Now, Burrows says it is the Christian Council's position that more time is needed for consultation before any laws are changed regarding marijuana use. Reporting for Our News, I'm Berthany McDermott.
Our thanks, Berthany. Still to come, a community holds a prayer vigil for 2 men killed during police-involved shootings. Stay tuned.
With Trio, you can get everything and more. Get 150% download speed increase than if you got internet alone, an enhanced television experience, and 15 phone features, all for, wait, it's still $99? But we boosted the internet speed. I'm just asking. Okay, fine. Just call 601-2200 and tell them that you want Trio, TV, phone, internet for $99. Powered by Rev. You and us together.
Pinewood MP Ruben Ramming delivered an impassioned contribution railing against violence against women and highlighting the scandal surrounding NIGARD key.
We've been hearing those whispers all the time. And I can stand to say, I don't care if you're PLP, if you're FNM, if you're DNA, all of you are be damned who've been doing these kind of things to our young ladies.
A lawsuit filed in New York last month alleges that multimillionaire Peter NIGARD engaged in illicit acts with underage Bahamian girls. Ramming said the issue must be taken seriously. The MP, who owns a bus franchise, said he has seen instances of violence against women in that industry.
In my lifetime, there have been times in the transportation industry where you have seen persons who have been victimized by drivers. And sometimes the police would have brought them to me, said, Ramming, they can't even describe where they are. They couldn't describe the situation. Say, but I need you to talk to this young lady. You could probably help us with our investigation. And I'm able to help them and say, could you remember even the color of the seat? Could you remember even the color of this? Because you know things so well because they're traumatized.
Kemp Road residents held a candlelight vigil to remember 2 men who were killed by police just 1 week apart. Jared Higgs was there.
Steve has gone and Shawnee has gone, but you all are here. Family members told Our News that the victim of last week's police shooting in Seabreeze is 27-year-old Steve Voltaire. Kemp Road residents held a candlelight vigil last night to remember Voltaire and his friend Nashorn Adderley, who was also killed by police a week prior.
The Lord is my shepherd.
I shall not want. He maketh me to lie down in green pastures.
23-year-old Adderley was killed back on February 24th when police say they caught him and another man in the middle of an attempted robbery near a bank. Voltaire was shot by police a little over a week later. Officers say they spotted him on Seabreeze Lane riding a moped and concealing something on his waist. The officers reportedly shot him after he pointed a weapon at police. Adderley and Voltaire's families acknowledged that the men were no saints. Voltaire was charged with murder in 2018 and was being electronically monitored when he died. Adderley's family described him as a gangster and say he was accused of armed robbery. Tuesday night's ceremony was attended by dozens of family members and friends from in and out of the Kemp Road community. Those gathered sang songs and recited prayers in what was a somber affair. Pastor Dale Moss implored young men and women in the community to stay out of trouble, give their lives to Christ, and join a church. Without commenting on the killings directly, Moss expressed concern for young men in general.
I'm concerned by the fact that our young men are being gunned down on a daily basis. I'm really concerned about perhaps more than just what's happening with the young men themselves, but actually what's going on in the homes and the families that really lead to sometimes our young men going astray.
Adderley and Voltaire grew up near to each other on Lyon Road and the street adjacent to it, their deaths bringing to focus complex issues facing the community. Both men had trouble with the law, but their family and friends believe they still deserve justice.
I believe that it could have been handled differently, but as it is, ain't nothing we can do about it. And I just pray that at the end of the day, we get closure, and at the end of the day, God have the final say. God is the judge, the true judge. So for those of them that are responsible for this, if it wasn't done righteously, God will have to deal with them.
Reporting for Our News, I'm Jared Higgs.
The Ministry of Education is in the process of updating its COVID-19 protocols, according to Education Minister Jeffrey Lloyd, who told parliamentarians that the updated information will be disseminated by Thursday and will include guidelines to be carried out at public schools across the country.
And the protocol calls, sir, for certain actions to be taken by the administrators in the immediate circumstance in which such condition may be identified. Such as, number one, to verify that such a condition may exist in the school by informing the school's nurse, if a nurse is available. And that nurse will call the relevant authority to verify.
Still to come, Alive unveils new push-to-talk services. Stay tuned.
With Trio, you can get everything and more. Get 150% download speed increase than if you got internet alone, an enhanced television experience, and 15 phone features, all for, wait, it's still $99? But we boosted the internet speed. I'm just asking. Okay, fine. Just call 601-2200 and tell them that you want Trio, TV, phone, internet for $99. Powered by Rev. You and us together.
You're watching Our News. Welcome back. Telecom's giant Alive unveiling its newest series of services. Push to Talk is a cloud-based unified platform that enables multiple communication methods over Alive's LTE data network. Rev's Director of Business Solutions, Charlotte Thompson, explains that you don't need your cell phone to utilize the device, but a rugged smart device quite similar to a walkie-talkie with the ability to do much more.
It doesn't require you to have a cell phone that's being used for that purpose. You have a specific device that's very easy to use and push to talk when someone is in the field, and it's quite durable. So if someone drops it, it's more durable than having to buy a very expensive phone just for that purpose.
Rev's head of small and medium business, Delmaro Duncombe, said the platform can prove useful for numerous industries from construction and insurance to banking.
The easy benefits right away of this service compared to a radio service, most radio frequencies are limited by range. Right? So if someone is over at Paradise Island using the radio, chances are when they go over the bridge, they're going to lose signal and you're unable to contact that person. Now, with leveraging Alive's robust 4G LTE data network and the Vanderstock platform, now you're able to communicate with your team, whether they're over on Paradise Island or they're down in South Beach.
The PTT device also has a location-based GPS tracking feature, which enables users to identify the track the location of each user in real time throughout the Bahamas. Chief Alive Officer Damian Blackburn said the ability to take photos and videos push-to-talk is a game changer.
The ability to track where workers are, look after workers with features like man-down alarms, for their workers to be able to take pictures and send videos. This is the space to keep an eye on.